Clause 7.3 of ISO 2701 addresses one of the most human and cultural dimensions of an information security management system, awareness. While previous clauses emphasize leadership, planning, and competence, this clause ensures that the people within the organization understand why the ISMS exists and how their daily actions contribute to its success. Awareness goes far beyond completing annual compliance training. It is about embedding security mindfulness into every decision and habit. The clause requires that personnel be aware of the ISMS's relevance and their individual role in protecting information. When awareness is genuine, employees act as the organization's first line of defense rather than its weakest link, transforming security from a top-down directive into a shared responsibility woven into the culture. The key elements of an effective awareness program are clearly defined in the standard. First, employees must understand the ISMS policies and objectives, not just know that they exist, but grasp their intent and practical application. Second, they must be aware of their personal responsibilities, including how their role intersects with information security requirements. Third, they should recognize the consequences of non-compliance or negligence, both for the organization and themselves. Finally, awareness means developing the ability to identify and respond to potential risks, whether that's spotting a suspicious email, questioning an unusual data request, or recognizing insecure practices. Together, these elements form a foundation of informed behavior, ensuring that awareness translates into action. Awareness becomes visible through behavior. Employees who recognize and report phishing attempts, follow proper procedures for handling confidential data, and adhere to clear desk or clean screen policies demonstrate that awareness programs are working. Staff members who promptly report incidents or potential weaknesses contribute directly to the ISMS's responsiveness and resilience. During audits, awareness is often measured informally through interviews and observations. When employees can confidently explain their responsibilities, cite examples of applied policies, and articulate why security matters, it proves that awareness has moved beyond theory into practice. Effective awareness does not just reduce incidents, it also fosters a sense of ownership and pride in maintaining a secure and trusted workplace. Auditors evaluating Clause 7.3 expect to see evidence that awareness programs are active, structured, and effective. This may include documented plans outlining how awareness is promoted, training schedules, campaign materials, and attendance records. However, auditors also look for more than paperwork. They assess whether employees truly understand their role in protecting information. Interviews, spot checks, and surveys help measure awareness in action. Auditors may also review metrics that track engagement, such as training completion rates, phishing test results, or incident reporting trends. The emphasis is on evidence of ongoing effort, not one-time compliance. Organizations that can demonstrate continuous reinforcement and measurable improvement in awareness levels show maturity in how they manage the human element of information security. Many organizations, however, fall into predictable traps when managing awareness programs. A common pitfall is relying on generic, one-size-fits-all messages that fail to connect with specific job roles or departments. Employees outside of IT may feel that the content is irrelevant to their work, leading to disengagement. Another issue is treating awareness as a one-time activity, such as a single annual training session, without consistent follow-up or reinforcement. Programs that do not measure their impact can also stagnate, as leaders lack insight into what is or isn't working. Finally, awareness materials can quickly become outdated as threats evolve, making content feel irrelevant or repetitive. To avoid these pitfalls, awareness must be dynamic, data-driven, and tailored, continuously refreshed to reflect both the organization's context and the ever-changing threat landscape. Clause 7.4 complements awareness by addressing the structured communication of information security matters both within and beyond the organization. Where Clause 7.3 focuses on personal understanding and cultural reinforcement, Clause 7.4 ensures that communication processes are deliberate, documented, and consistent. The clause requires organizations to determine what needs to be communicated, who is responsible for communicating it, when it should be shared, and by what means. This structured approach ensures that information flows reliably across all levels, between departments, leadership, partners, regulators, and customers. Communication under Clause 7.4 is not only about spreading information, but also about maintaining trust and transparency in how the ISMS operates and responds to emerging risks or incidents. Designing effective communication processes begins with identifying stakeholders and their information needs. Internal audiences might include employees, managers, or board members, each requiring a different level of detail and frequency. External stakeholders may include regulators, clients, suppliers, or the public, depending on the organization's scope. Once audiences are defined, the organization determines the most appropriate channels, whether formal reports, email bulletins, dashboards, or meetings, and assigns clear responsibility for creating and delivering messages. Timing and frequency are equally important. Routine updates may be scheduled quarterly or annually, while urgent communications, such as incident notifications, must follow predefined timelines. Clause 7.4 ensures that communication is not improvised, but governed by an intentional, transparent process that supports both security and business continuity. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Internal communication, under Clause 7.4, plays a critical role in maintaining alignment and responsiveness across the organization. Staff need timely and relevant updates about emerging threats, policy changes, and performance results to stay informed and engaged. Security bulletins are an effective way to communicate new threats, alerting employees to phishing campaigns or vulnerabilities that require attention. Policy updates distributed through department channels ensure that all personnel understand new expectations or procedures. Dedicated incident reporting mechanisms, such as secure email addresses, ticketing portals, or hotlines, allow employees to share information quickly and confidentially when issues arise. Many organizations also use dashboards or scorecards to display key ISMS metrics such as audit results, patch compliance rates, or incident response times. These tools make progress visible, promote accountability, and reinforce that communication about information security is both routine and valued. External communication is equally important and often more sensitive. The standard recognizes that organizations have obligations to communicate with customers, partners, and regulators under specific conditions. Contractual requirements may dictate that clients be informed promptly about incidents affecting their data. Regulatory reporting mandates, such as those under GDPR or HIPAA, require disclosure of certain breaches within set timeframes. Communication with suppliers is another vital element. Security cannot exist in isolation, and shared risk means shared responsibility. In cases of major incidents, public statements or media communication may also be required to maintain trust and transparency. Each of these communications must be carefully planned and executed in accordance with documented procedures, ensuring accuracy, timeliness, and consistency. Miscommunication, delay, or omission in these situations can compound reputational damage and regulatory exposure. Auditors assessing Clause 7.4 look for evidence that the organization has established and implemented formal communication procedures. They expect to see documentation outlining who communicates what, when, and how, both internally and externally. They also verify that these processes align with stakeholder expectations, regulatory obligations, and contractual terms. During audits, reviewers may examine samples of internal memos, training newsletters, or incident reports to confirm that communication occurs consistently and through secure channels. For external communication, auditors often focus on the traceability of incident notifications or regulatory submissions, checking for timeliness and completeness. The objective is not simply to confirm that communication happens, but that it happens systematically, reinforcing confidence that the ISMS maintains clarity and control during both routine operations and crises. Common weaknesses in ISMS communication often stem from unclear roles and inconsistent execution. When no one is explicitly assigned responsibility for communication, messages can be delayed, contradictory, or incomplete. In some organizations, incident reporting chains are too complex or poorly understood, causing confusion about who must be notified first. Failing to inform suppliers or business partners about shared risks undermines the ISMS's collaborative foundation. Another frequent issue is excessive reliance on informal communication, verbal updates, or ad hoc emails, which lack traceability and may lead to misunderstandings. To meet ISO 27001's intent, communication must be deliberate, verifiable, and consistent, supported by a defined process that eliminates ambiguity and reinforces accountability across every channel. To build effective communication systems, organizations can follow several best practices. Defining role-based communication responsibilities ensures that every function knows its part. Executives handle external statements. Compliance teams manage regulatory notifications, and technical leads communicate operational updates. Using multiple channels, email, intranet, meetings, and digital dashboards ensures accessibility and redundancy, reaching diverse audiences effectively. Rehearsing communication procedures, particularly for incident notification, strengthens readiness and coordination under pressure. Regularly reviewing communication strategies ensures that they remain relevant as technologies, risks, and stakeholders evolve. These practices not only improve the speed and accuracy of communication, but also demonstrate that the organization takes a proactive, controlled approach to managing information flow within and beyond the ISMS. There is a natural synergy between awareness, Clause 7.3, and communication, Clause 7.4, that amplifies the effectiveness of both. Awareness programs equip staff with the knowledge and context they need to interpret and act upon security communications appropriately. Conversely, structured communication reinforces awareness goals by keeping messages visible and relevant throughout the year. This interplay creates a security culture grounded in participation and understanding. When staff trust the information they receive and understand how it relates to their responsibilities, they are far more likely to respond quickly and correctly. Consistent messaging across awareness and communication initiatives also reduces confusion, aligning the entire organization under a shared narrative of vigilance and accountability. Industry examples show how organizations apply clauses 7.3 and 7.4 in diverse contexts. In financial institutions, phishing awareness campaigns often combine simulated attacks with follow-up communication explaining how to spot and report suspicious emails. In healthcare, structured communication with regulators ensures that data breaches involving patient information are reported within legal deadlines, accompanied by staff briefings to prevent recurrence. Manufacturing companies integrate supplier communication into their ISMS, sharing updates on production security standards and risk assessments across global supply chains. Universities and educational institutions often blend mandatory student and faculty training with regular internal newsletters that highlight cybersecurity tips and case studies. Across these sectors, the underlying principle remains the same. Awareness and communication reinforce each other to build a resilient, security-conscious organization. Strong implementation of clauses 7.3 and 7.4 yields significant strategic benefits. Employees who are informed and aware become active participants in maintaining security rather than passive recipients of instructions. Regulators and clients gain confidence in the organization's transparency, knowing that it communicates promptly, accurately, and responsibly. Well-coordinated communication also enhances incident response, enabling faster detection, escalation, and containment during crises. Over time, effective awareness and communication foster a shared culture where security is perceived not as an obligation but as a professional standard of excellence. This alignment between culture, behavior, and governance strengthens the ISMS and elevates the organization's reputation for integrity and trustworthiness. In conclusion, Clause 7.3 embeds awareness into everyday behavior, ensuring that all personnel understand their role in safeguarding information, while Clause 7.4 ensures that communication, both internal and external, is structured, consistent, and effective. Together, they transform the ISMS from a technical framework into a living culture of security and transparency. Awareness builds understanding. Communication sustains engagement. The synergy between them creates an organization capable not only of preventing incidents, but also of responding to them with clarity and confidence. With a strong foundation of culture and communication in place, the organization is now ready to advance to Clause 7.5, which addresses the management of documented information, the records and evidence that preserve trust, traceability, and compliance throughout the ISMS lifecycle.